Hello there, comrade. Sebastian here, and in this video, it's going to be an overview of the science of masterpiece mode. Okay, so we don't have time to go through all the minuscule, tiny details. However, this is going to be a powerful and strong overview to give you a better understanding of the science that's going on underneath the hood, so to speak. So let's get into it. And as you know, my name is Sebastian Michael Cruze, and I'm your guide. And for the past 7 years, I've been a trusted advisor for business leaders at 6 figures, 7 figures, and up to $50 million in revenue per year. And we're going to start with a quote here by Galileo that says, "All truths are easy to understand once they are discovered. The point is to discover them." And this really embodies the spirit of what I'm about to share with you today. Is that masterpiece mode is a new discovery. Masterpiece mode is pioneering, okay? So by nature of pioneering, we're venturing out into the world of the unknown and putting things together, putting new techniques together. And the strategies that have been used here have been refined over many years, over 65 plus years, different points of it. So just keep that in mind as we're going through here, is that this is a conversation about pioneering rather than a conversation of just doing things the way they always were done. So I'm going to share with you a 3-phase journey that it took to discover masterpiece mode. And it's going to be very much simplified. We're going to do this very quickly, and it's just going to take a couple minutes. So phase 1 is when I spent many years learning ancient knowledge, esoteric knowledge from elder masters. Okay, we're talking about ancient knowledge that's all across the world and also has been passed down in different mystery schools and different orders of knowledge. And so I learned from these masters that had spent their entire lives devoted to it and masters before them. So I was really in a fortunate position to find the right people at the right time and really devote myself to it and learn what was going on and learn the different strategies and techniques for personal development using these ancient systems and techniques. And then what I started doing next naturally is I started sharing that with friends, families, colleagues, and I just started stacking up reviews. I had an SEO business, and underneath the surface, like behind the scenes, I was just sharing this with people, and people were just like, they were raving about it, okay? And so now I'm going to go to another quote, and this is from Sir Arthur C. Clarke. And this quote says, "Sufficiently advanced technology initially looks like magic to us." Sufficiently advanced technology initially looks like magic to us. And as I was sharing these techniques and strategies with people, it was in very esoteric language. I learned it from there was a lot of Eastern philosophy. So there wasn't like the Western neuroscience. And it was clearly working though. The techniques were clearly working, clearly impacting people enough where people were just stacking rave reviews. But so I started to wonder, what are the actual biology of why is this working? What's the actual neuroscience of why this is working? And that brought me to phase 3, because I didn't want to just believe that it was some kind of like woo-woo magic or, stuff. I knew that there was a basis. It just hadn't been explained yet. So that brings us to number 3, phase 3, where then I went on I just researched everything that I could find my hands on about neuroscience, psychology, and why this was working so well. Okay, and that's where I've studied the research of over 20 doctors, and I started putting Western neuroscience language and concepts to what I had been taught with ancient knowledge, and started bridging the gap of explaining why these things were working so well. Okay, so this 7+ year journey took me all across the world, and it was studying, developing, and implementing. And a huge theme of what I share with people is that there is a big fucking difference between implementing and just reading and knowing, because consciousness isn't what you know, it's what you implement. Okay? And there's a lot of people that might know a lot, but they're not doing what they know. So then do they really know it? It's all about implementation. So this journey spanned the study and the implementation of ancient advanced psychology, cutting edge neuroscience, as you just heard, ancient advanced mathematics of evolution, energetic dynamics, biology of consciousness, pioneering modern psychology, and also analyzing the life stories of world-changing icons and geniuses throughout history. And I've gone through so many biographies of different geniuses to find the nuances of their journey, to get a better picture of the exciting parts of their journey, but as well as the mundane parts and how that all fits into their self-actualization. Okay. And these biographies are anywhere from 12 hours long to 38 hours long. So it's been a lot. And this also led to studying the research of over 20 doctors, as you can see here. Bruce Lipton, Abraham Maslow, Bradley Nelson, Mihaly, with his very complicated last name, Dr. Molly Crockett, on and on and on. Okay? So masterpiece mode is a state of being that combines a series of specific cognitive effects that work in unison to rapidly achieve self-actualization implementation, also known as one's masterpiece. So there we go again. It's not just about knowing things, it's about implementing self-actualization, okay? Because if someone knows a lot, you can maybe see they're self-actualized, but they're not implementing it, then in my personal opinion is that they don't really know it, okay? So when you actually implement what you have learned throughout your whole span of your life into one focused piece, that is your masterpiece. And we're entrepreneurs here, so that is a value-producing part of the economy, okay? So now we'll go to Dr. Abraham Maslow's self-hierarchy of needs. And I'm sure you've seen this before. So we've got the base needs up the scale. Bring out my nice little drawing tool. Okay, so on the bottom we've got our needs. This is like the base needs: air, water, food. Once we climb up that, then we can start thinking about our safety needs, personal security. And what you'll notice, and I'll just go over to the right here, is that every part of the pyramid has a certain mode of thinking. And this doesn't come from Maslow, it's just I've named it here because it's common sense. So the needs, when you're just thinking about surviving, is survival mode, okay? When you're just thinking about safety, like if someone's going to jump you, it's security mode. Could also be where you live, your finances, these type of things. When you have that covered and you're like, you want more love and belonging so that you're not just alone in the world, then your mind goes into connection mode, okay? And then as you start getting recognized for yourself, for your value, then you're in recognition mode, okay? And then self-actualization. And that's where we need a helping hand to click our mind into masterpiece mode, because it is very simple here, as you can see, but without the right tools and technology, in the right method, this is a long gap right here. That little jump is a long gap. So that's where masterpiece mode, so the method comes in. So your mind is focused on becoming the best you can be and expressing that, implementing that into the world, which is your masterpiece. All right. So now let's also go through that. Masterpiece mode is, you can think of it as a unified neural network. All right. So it's actively advancing you on the path of achieving your masterpiece. So when I say a unified neural network, what does that mean? Well, let's dig a bit deeper, because your mind operating in masterpiece mode, as we'll just go back here, your mind operating in masterpiece mode is much different than any of these other modes, okay? So just like when you think about different things, the brain lights up in a different way, it makes sense that if your brain is operating in a different mode, it's going to light up differently. And this whole concept is about that specific way that it lights up, that is specifically focused on you achieving your self-actualization, and not just leaving it as a vague concept, but also focusing that even deeper into what that means, which is your masterpiece. Okay? So we can look at the clues here of what that neural network is, and we can see that the brain has 86 to 100 billion neurons, depending on who you talk to, which research you look at. The heart has 40,000 neurons, and the stomach has 1 million neurons. So when we use these in a unified way, we're integrating and unifying and utilizing a unified neural network. Interesting thought. So Eastern philosophy, there's a lot of talk about mind, body, and spirit, and unifying, integrating those components to be fully expressed in the world. Well, in a neuroscience way of looking at it, we've got the brain, the mind, the body, the stomach, and the heart and the spirit. Okay.